Hi guys, how are you? We hope that you have been keeping well. Welcome back to the Mental Wealth Podcast with me, Lilian Simiyu.
And of course, your main man, DMW. You can call me Derrick Masabawere.
Main man tena.
Yeah, the main man.
Okay. So karibu sana main man. Welcome on board everyone that is listening. We are happy that you are joining us today wherever you are. And we are hoping that today's episode will be of impact to you. Derrick, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about something interesting. We're talking about empathy. People confuse empathy with sympathy, and they don't know why should you be empathetic. We want to discuss it so that we can know why we need to be, or rather, is it of importance to our life, and how do we apply it in our day-to-day life. So our topic for today is empathy, and we hope you're going to learn something out of it. And yeah,
subscribe to this and other shows on acute.co.ke.
maybe Lilian, you can start us off by telling us what empathy is. What is it about?
Well, empathy is understanding somebody's feelings. People say putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, like bringing yourself to understand what somebody else is going through. You don't have to have gone through it, but try and just understand. Just consider what this person is going through. So that's empathy, considering what somebody else is feeling or thinking. Maybe it's just not feeling, also thinking. Yes.
So where do we draw the line between empathy and sympathy?
Sympathy is pity. Sai Nikki, for example, if something happened to me, let's say I'm going through a breakup.
Yeah.
And somebody sympathy, if you feel sympathy for me, unanihurumia. It's just pity. And somebody who is feeling pity for you can't support you in any way. And
they don't get into your shoes.
They don't get to understand what you're going through.
They don't see things from your point of view. They see it from their point of view.
Yes. So sympathy is almost, I would call it a reaction, a normal reaction. Kitu imefanyikia mtu, so unamsikilia vibaya.
Yeah.
But empathy, on the other hand, is you trying to understand what I'm going through, and you cannot understand. You see, the thing with empathy, you can't understand what I'm going through unless I help you.
Yeah.
And that's why we'll have in the process of empathy, we'll have things like, listening. If I allow you to listening to what I'm feeling, what the story is, and then from then you can know how to objectively support me. So me, I'd say empathy is more objective. Is a more objective process to try and support somebody emotionally, as compared to sympathy. Sympathy is just pity, and somebody who is feeling pity for you, can help you call a pity party if that's what you want. You can cry over it, and crying is a good thing, but somebody who is feeling pity for you won't help you as much, and sometimes they make you feel worse. They can escalate their situation with the sympathy that they are feeling, with the pity that they are feeling. Yeah.
I think this one we're going to discuss more as we go through the whole topic on empathy. One will ask, why? Maybe why should we be empathetic to begin with? I don't know, but we keep on saying we live in a busy world. Everybody's chasing money, people are chasing love, people are chasing peace and all that. And the sad reality is we are in a generation where people are calling everybody haters, and they feel like I should, have my own peace and, all that. In as much as, of course, mental health is about, first of all, finding ourselves, our true identity, before now we can extend our hands to other people. Then somebody will ask, why should I be empathetic to you, first of all? Why? And at what point do we decide we want to be empathetic? Or rather, is it something that we need to apply in all scenarios or cases that we find ourselves in?
Why do we need to be empathetic? I'd say we need to be empathetic because we all need empathy at some point. And empathy, I believe, is something that will make the world better because all of us go through situations and we need somebody to understand this is what I'm going through. And as much as sometimes they can't support you, but they don't make things worse. Because you see, when you don't understand what somebody is going through, you can make things worse. So empathy, I'd say we need to be empathetic because each one of us needs it. Yeah. And I believe it's something that will make the world better in terms of just being there for each other. Because if I am empathetic with you today, if you came to me with an issue, and maybe just we are not necessarily, I don't have to be going through stuff. It can be even in a discussion, just taking your time to actually understand somebody's point of view is cognitive empathy. You see, so it doesn't have to be I'm going through something. I believe empathy is something that helps us to get out of ourselves. Because you see, most of the time, we make life about ourselves. Me, self, and I, everything is about you. And you never take time to actually understand why is person so and so, why does he think like this? What does he mean? Akisema hivi, what does this person mean? I feel like it will make things better, even sometimes when you're having these debates or conversations or arguments. It will make it better and more objective because we're giving each other time. I'm giving you your time to say what your argument is or what your side of the story is, and you're also giving me the same. So we don't go around in circles of argument or talking at each other or in a shouting match.
Yeah. Maybe I can say that is more of a constructive kind of an argument where, first of all, I listen in, I feel what you are trying to bring on the table. Then I pick my conversation from where you have left by getting into your shoes. Other than after you're done with your presentation, I jump in with, my presentation. I don't consider or put into consideration
what you've said,
the things you've said, and I don't want to fit in your shoes. Maybe if we can bring this conversation closer home, I want us to bring in the aspect of a working space. Assume we are all working together. I am your boss. Let me say I am a boss to somebody else. Let me use that. Let me not say I'm your boss.
Why not?
No, Nicheka. But
no. I'm just imagining you as my boss. That's why I'm laughing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So,
but you'd be a nice boss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I hope that's not a way of trying to fool me.
No, I'm not.
Anyway, in a working space or a working kind of a setup, you are expected to do your work, but apparently you didn't do your work and you didn't communicate why you didn't do your work. Who do we now bring in the aspect of the boss being empathetic to the employee, or where do we draw the line? Because at times you have deadlines to meet, you have clients who are waiting for deadlines to be met, and other things to be done within a particular timeline. So where do we come in and bring in the aspect of empathy at a time when things are not being done the right way, and you feel like things have to be done the right way? Do you assume you should be empathetic and start understanding the person, and then bringing the emotional bit of it, or where do we draw the line?
Being empathetic, Derrick, doesn't mean that you turn a blind eye when things are not going right. It just means that you become more human in terms of just understanding what the situation is. And if you're my boss, for example, and I am not doing things right, it is okay for you to come and ask me. You see, conversation. Ask me, why is ABCD not going right? But also, as I talk about this, we have to understand that this is a two-way thing. So if I'm not doing things okay, I'm not meeting deadlines, I'm not delivering, I'm not meeting my targets, it's up to me. It's two-way. I can't expect my boss to understand me and me, I'm not understanding my boss, because work has to be done. That's why you're there. That's why you're being paid. So if you're, for example, in no space, you're not able to meet your deadlines or what you're meant to do, then you have to communicate and tell your boss, for example, tell Derrick, this is what is happening and I'm not able to deliver ABCD. And then when I come to you with that, if you're an empathetic boss, then you understand. And now we figure out how will I, up to how long will I not be able to meet my deadlines? Is it okay with my boss? Ama I step out kidogo, So it's a two-way thing. It's not that it's something that we should use to manipulate people with. It's definitely a two-way thing. So empathy doesn't mean that you turn a blind eye to things when they're going wrong. It just means you understand and you don't react in a way that will make somebody else feel hurt or bad or things like that.
I have an issue where we say you react in a way that the other person doesn't feel hurt. And we have discussed even before, you're not responsible for other person's reaction at times. I might smile at you, but you don't feel like it's a genuine smile. It's something beyond me to control how you react. So how on earth should I react? Somebody wants to know how on earth do I react in such a way that you don't feel offended, first of all. And then there's the other aspect. I think I have experienced it on a number of occasions. We are supposed, for example, to meet. It's a business. We're supposed to do business. We're supposed to meet. It's my docket. We're supposed to meet and ensure 1, 2, 3 things are done. But you failed to communicate as part of this team. You didn't communicate to me, number one. You came in late. And then number two, there is something you're supposed to do you didn't do. And you have mentioned something to do with, it's a two-way traffic. You initiate, I initiate. You feel the need for something to be done. I feel the need why you didn't do something. And apparently, this colleague of mine does not entirely communicate about why they're late, why they didn't do their task as expected of them, and all this stuff. So should I not react? I want to understand, does empathy denies one the aspect or rather the need to react in a way that you're angry because things are not done the right way, or the first thing I meet Lilian today, you have annoyed me, I need to smile at you, I need to first of all say, hi Lilian, why didn't you do this? What is the setup like, for somebody who is working and wants to know how he or she can handle either his juniors at work or, colleagues at work?
First of all, I'm not asking people to pretend. If you're angry, you're angry. It's how you express it. Because you remember here we are out here talking about mental health.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm angry at you and my reaction is to insult you, for example, you see that's a bit quote unquote insensitive.
Yeah.
You see, because there are bosses like that. They will throw words at you, tell you how you're incompetent, they'll tell you all the things they've ever want to tell you. But you see, at the end of the day, the issue right now is, for example, I'm not meeting my deadlines. So I'm not saying that you don't react, but I'm just saying be more objective, and in this reaction, just I wouldn't say try to filter it, but focus on the issue. Because most of the time we get reaction.
Focus on the person.
Yes, focus on the issue. Because most of the time we get reactions from people that you're looking at the magnitude of the reaction versus the issue. You see they don't match. So if, for example, I'm not meeting my deadline, I don't want you to smile with me and be happy. I just want you to come to me and tell me, Lilian, for example, this and this is not happening. If, for example, Lilian in her own has not come to tell you why she's not meeting her targets, I realize that you're not meeting your targets, and you understand. Because at the end of the day, everything has a consequence. If you're not meeting your targets, depending on who you're working for, you can get warning letters, you can get fired.
Yeah.
So you focus on the issue. You tell, for example, Lilian, I understand. I notice that you're not meeting your targets, and you understand that this has this kind of effect to our, for example, our job or our clients, and you understand that this kind of thing can lead to this ABCD kind of consequence to you. I don't know what you might have been going through or what has happened, but you understand that this is what is required of you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you pretend, but I'm just saying that handle the issue in a more objective manner, in a way that doesn't maybe escalate what somebody else might be going through, because we don't know why Lilian is not meeting her targets. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So we don't know why Lilia is not meeting her targets. I know people are still trying to understand. Though I know you have mentioned it. How is empathy important to me as a person? The person who is doing the self-disclosure to Lilian. How is it liberating? How does it work for me? And why should I, as a person, be able to think of attaching myself with people who are more empathetic than those who are sympathetic?
Empathy is helpful to the one. Are you asking to the one who's receiving it or the one giving it?
The one giving.
The one. So, for example, it's me who has an issue, and you're trying to understand what my issue is.
Yes.
And what I just explained right now with the work situation is just a situation of somebody trying to be sensitive. But you see, you cannot be empathetic unless somebody has come forth and told you this is what is going on. You can't understand something that you haven't been told. You understand?
Yeah.
So empathy is important to the person giving it, because I believe it makes you a better person, and it makes you get out of yourself and understand other people better. And the ripple of that is it helps you have better relationships and attract people who... It helps you have better relationships, whether it's personally or even at work, because it can give you... You see, when empathy is something that appeals to the emotions, and it's really easy to appeal to people's emotions than logic. You understand? And yes, the other day I saw somebody posting a quote that saying intelligence will get you the job, but empathy will get you promoted. I guess you've seen it too.
Yeah.
So it helps you cultivate better relationships with people, you who is giving it. And the person receiving it helps you feel understood in a situation, and it also helps you handle the situations you're in better, because it's more objective. It's more like somebody, basically telling you, I'm here for you, I feel you, I understand you, I see your pain, I see your struggle. It's a tool that can really help somebody to get through a situation that is difficult. Yeah.
Interesting. I think it's something, should I say, I've learned over time. I don't know whether I think I was more empathetic when it comes to friends, but when it came to work, I was not, or I've not grown up to be an empathetic person when it comes to working kind of a setup. I always believe work has to be done. Whatever excuses you have comes later. What brought us here is work, and at the end of the day, it is something that keeps us going and the like. But I think interaction with people, reading from different scripts and books, you realize people are even more productive when they are given time or space to talk their hearts out, and they even give more when you are in a position to feel what they're feeling. When we make a workspace, for example, be somewhere we come, work, and go home without having an environment where we connect, then we are making our workers, or rather we are making that working environment be kind of robotic or systemic in such a way that it is work, after work you go home. People have different issues they go through, and at times these issues hinder work. And if they hinder work, the only way for us to improve productivity and make people work efficiently is by having this kind of an open setup where the boss is empathetic to the workers. I don't know, some call it an open office, where you can easily connect with those you're working with. maybe my question, and I'm asking because I know people want to know more about being empathetic, and they're like, how do you? I know of people who find it difficult, first of all, to disclose, to do self-disclosure. They find it difficult to even, assume that their bosses can listen. And at times, we die not because we were supposed to die, we die because we already imagine the worst to happen. So how do you, first of all, develop an attitude, develop a thinking, develop a reason for you to feel comfortable opening up as we go through the journey of getting people who are empathetic to you and your issues?
First of all, before I even answer that, let me just add on to what you have just said about the workspace and the robotic situation. I know most of us, just as employers or as employee, we just care about the output. But before we get to the output, there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of things that bring you to a place where you can deliver 100%. And most of these things, whether we like it or not, are our personal situations. If I have a personal issue, even though I would want to give my work 150%, I cannot unless I solve that issue, because at the end of the day, our personal issues will forever surpass our work. So as much as we are going into the workspace and expecting this to be a place where we just deliver and we don't talk about other things, I feel like that's a bit of unrealistic. That's unrealistic because there's a lot of things that say whether somebody will meet their targets or not. Some of which is the working relationships they have with their colleagues or people they're working with.
Yeah.
And so we have to understand what these other things, that these undertones that we never talk about, the kind of effect they have on the people we see or the work they do or the results they achieve. And that's why it's important for us, even in the workspace, as much as we want to get, we're chasing paper and all these things, we have to remember that we are human beings. And sometimes somebody will not behave the way you expect them to behave. And the way, just as I mentioned earlier, I'm not saying that you pretend or not react to it, but react to it in a way that is sensitive. Okay? Because at the end of the day, me and you, Derrick, we are mental health advocates.
Yeah.
We are trying to ensure that we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're also trying to ensure that the next person is aware of mental health challenges. And that's why even in your approach, even though you want to give somebody the taste of their own medicine or call them out on their laziness or things like that, just be sensitive about it, because you never know what this person is going through. Yeah. And now that I've explained that, I've forgotten what you asked me. So
I had asked, how do you get to be comfortable about speaking out your issues, even before you get to the point where you have empaths around you to listen to you and, because as I said earlier, sometimes we die not because there's no medicine, but we assume the ones that are available will kill us ultimately. So how do you, first of all, even gain the courage to reach out to people and to talk out your issues?
Well, this is difficult to talk about because I'm the kind of person who almost doesn't open up. But what I'd say is, I mentioned earlier that you can't expect people to be empathetic with you if they don't know what's going on with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have to have something to work with. They have to know that, for example, you lost your job, for them to understand and put themselves in your shoe and understand that maybe you want to withdraw at the time, maybe you need help looking for another job, maybe you need referral, things like that. So I'd say, first of all, you'd want to ask yourself, what is it that makes you not want to open up? Because it's not, you just don't become closed up. And I know people who are introverts, we like to say, I'm just like that. But you can't have walls with everyone.
Yeah.
There are people
You can't have walls with everyone.
Yes.
I think this is a good message to the current generation.
Yeah, you can't have walls with everyone. So you have to see, pick and choose. Even though you're introverts and you don't like you're a private person, you have to have at least one or two people that you can tell what is going on. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that I don't like to open up? Do I have trust issues? Have I been betrayed before? Has things that I've said been used against me? You have to ask yourself those questions.
I think on the same note, I think most of us in most occasions have trust issues, when it comes to opening up and completely allowing yourself to open up without the fear of the unknown. But, there's that question of, this person is going to, there's that aspect of emotional blackmail where this person is going to use my words against me one time. They're going to gang up, they're going to do one, they're going to do two, they're going to do three. And people feel like I am not obliged to share. For some, especially men, will be like, ndakufa kimwanaume. I'll find a way to solve my own issues. But, they say at times some of these issues, they keep recurring. At times you may fail to do work because maybe you lost a loved one. Maybe you underwent or you're undergoing a very painful breakup. But you are saying, I'm going to hold on to myself and I'm going to keep working. But again, even based from my experience, you keep on telling yourself you're going to work, but for the period that you're going through this pain, you will not be fully present in this job. You're going to struggle a lot. You're going to fail to meet a lot of deadlines. But I know the fact that one is able to gain the courage to feel free, to feel at ease, to open up. You are one step ahead of number one. If it's something that needs healing, you are allowing yourself to heal. Number two, you are inviting another person who is going to give you room to heal. Because you imagine you're undergoing pain, and then your boss is firing too much work. He is not within your aspect. He's not sensitive with the kind of sentiments or words he's using towards you at this point. But again, the guy or the boss or, doesn't understand really what's happening in your life. And you have really, you have confirmed to yourself or you have, promised yourself you're not going to do any opening up and, doing ABCD. So I think one of the things that we need to understand even as we listen to this podcast is for any person to be empathetic to you is you have to allow yourself to speak up. You have to allow yourself to be honest enough to share what is, within you so that it can be listened to. And, they say, there's this friend of mine who keeps on telling me, Derrick, what is the worst that can happen? I know some people use such kind of a statement when they're about to make crazy decisions. But I want to use this statement when it comes to opening up. And I really need attention, from other people. So what is the worst that can happen? The worst that can happen is they will, for example, I'm not assuming people are going to gossip about you, but I'm imagining this an empathetic boss who wants to listen to you and they're willing to, help you out. We should not always be negative about the outcomes of us opening up. We should at time, try it out and see how it happens. And if it has happened before that we opened up and things didn't go as planned, then doesn't mean it is the last day for us to keep trying.
Yes, I think that is amazing what you've said. Because I think you've said almost everything that I wanted to say. Because one, as we've said, somebody can't be empathetic with you if you don't open up.
Yeah.
Or if you don't tell them what's going on. You don't have to tell them every detail, but you at least have to voice that there's something going on with you. So somebody can't be empathetic or can't be sensitive to what you're going through if they don't know what you're going through, or if at all they don't even know you're going through something. Number two is, yes, trust has been breached. Sometimes we've opened up to the wrong people, and that has just left scars in us, and we feel like, hey, manze, this opening up thing is not good for me. But you see, at the end of the day, it's injustice to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I said, why is empathy important? Because we all need it. Yeah, it's true. We all need it. And that time, you mentioned something like, especially for men, you'd rather kufa kimwanaume. Kufa kimwanaume sometimes means what? Suicide. And if for example, you opened up to one person and it didn't work out, or they used it against you, it doesn't mean everyone is like that. So what you have to do is understand that this wasn't the right person to open up to and move on. Never open up to them again, but that doesn't mean you can't open up to anyone again. You understand? If Derrick used what I told him against me, I just have to understand that Derrick is not the right person to approach when I'm going through things that I want to talk about and I need him to support me. And maybe let me try somebody else. Let me try Alex. And see.
Maybe on the same note, do we try to say, or rather, are we saying, even as we try to open up, because now we are talking from the point of us opening up and then getting an empath, is this conversation also trying to tell us we should not just open up to anyone?
Yeah, that's true. Not everyone is worth opening up to, because if somebody, empathy is a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill that some people have, but most of us have to learn.
Yeah.
You have to learn to listen without judgment. You have to learn to listen and be objective and try support someone in that situation, focusing on them, because the issue is them, it's not you. So when I come tell you I lost my job, it's not for you to come and tell me, even me, I lost my job last week.
Yes.
It's about me.
Yeah.
It's about me in that.
It's a big challenge. I think I wanted to pick it up from there. Unapata, you have an issue, and people, especially people I think we surround ourselves with, they are so strategic on how they listen to your issues. So you'll be opening up your issues about, I lost my job, and I don't have anything to do, and I have a family, I have a girlfriend. Then they jump in from where they jump in from your girlfriend. They build up another story from there. They convert the whole story from you to being them. So I think maybe you can also highlight it, and I think I can also say it is also important for us when it comes to our social circles, even professional circles, we cultivate a team or people who are also ready to listen to us, and they are honestly willing to listen to us. I have had conversations with my friends, some of my friends, and they'll tell me most of the people who surround me are people who I listen to most of the time. I don't have people around my circle who listen to me. So whenever people even tell me to speak up or to open up, I feel strange because it is unlike me. And I think this is the right time, as you listen to this podcast, we have to tell you every time, all of us must have an inlet and an outlet. Even as we take in things from other people, we must allow ourselves to be freed, or people who are willing to listen into us empathetically, without judgment, without criticism. Listen to us keenly, openly, feel in our pain, and, that is the kind of environment you're trying to cultivate. So try as much as possible. This is a time to do self-reflection. What are the kind of people that you attract within your working space and even at your social capacity? Are they people who always, or at times once in a while, try to listen to you? Or 80% of your friends enjoy it when you listen to them, enjoy it when you're present for them, enjoy it when it is you that is on the receiving end when it comes to their issues, and you find it difficult to open up to them, you find it difficult for them to even understand your issues. There are people who will be like, and I've experienced it, you start opening up and they'll be like, that's not a big issue. They jump into their issues. They'll be like, you can't imagine what I'm going through. I've just started, airing out my issue, and they have jumped in with how big their issues are. And I know these kind of people who feel whatever they're going through is bigger than what others are going through. So you'll share, open up about your issue, and be like, you are yet to get to my level. You haven't gotten to this level where you struggle with money, you have to pay this kind of bill. We understand you're paying all that, but all you're trying to say is, let us all cultivate a system, or rather a circle, where it's inlet and outlet. People listening into you empathetically, and you being in a position to even listen to other people empathetically without judgment, but feeling what they're feeling, and understanding what is happening to their life.
Yeah. I was mentioning that empathy is a skill, and it's not an easy skill to learn. And as much as you are aware of it, you have to practice, because most of the time you get tempted just to do everything else but empathy. So it's a skill that takes time. It takes time. You have first of all to decide that I want to be somebody who's empathetic. And then after that, you practice this skill slowly with one situation, with another. Because listening without judgment is something very hard. Just somebody coming to you and you're like, okay, this is what is happening with me, and you don't judge them. And it's a very difficult thing, by the way. It's not easy. And even me, as somebody who is talking about empathy, sometimes I've gone to people to talk about my issues, and I'm just there like, why did I? Because you end up feeling worse than you were already because of judgment, for example, because of this negative competition that we all have. I don't know what it's about, but it's from the simplest of things. I think I've already talked to you about this. Something as simple as I'd come to you right now and tell you, hey, Derrick, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I slept at 3. Then Derrick would be like, hey, wewe, mimi nililala 5.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know. Often, yeah.
I don't know why we are like that. Instead of just being like, hey, I feel you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel like that. Is there anything that was happening that made you sleep at 3? Like, what's going on with you? You know? Because if you wanted to tell me that you slept at 5, in all honesty, si ungesema wa kwanza.
Yeah.
Why did you wait until I brought up an issue of my struggle? Is then now you decide to jump in. So, and also we are not forcing everyone you don't have to be empathetic. What we are saying is don't make somebody's situation worse. And if you feel like this person is going through something and I am not able to give them empathy, tell them, I understand that this is a difficult time for you. However, I'm not able to listen to you objectively right now. I can refer you to person X who will help you. Because the truth is, listening to people's issues is not easy.
Yes, it
can drain you.
Yes.
It can drain you. And people, once they realize that you are a beautiful outlet, they will forever come to you with their issues. And some of these issues, you know, sometimes the way people like to complain and do nothing about a situation, you can meet people like that. Today they want to tell you about their boyfriend who has done ABCD. And you tell them, maybe this relationship is not working. Can you consider leaving it? And then there you have an awkward situation. Then the next time you meet them, their boyfriend has done ABCD. See, that can be draining for you as a person. So this is where we come back with our pet topic, which is boundaries. Yeah. So even as an empath, because empaths are usually very highly sensitive people.
Yeah.
So this can drain you very much because you feel somebody's pain. You see it, you feel it with them, and therefore you are absorbing this kind of energy. So when they come with their sad energy, you absorb it and it affects you. So you have to have boundaries, even in as an empath. You're like, okay, we've talked about this issue for a while. I see your pain. I understand it. But what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
What is the situation? What are you doing about the situation so that we don't keep talking about this over and over again?
Yeah, I agree. I think when it comes to, empaths setting boundary, there's somewhere I read on how empaths are targets to narcissists. Mm-hmm. The fact that somebody can realize you are a good listener and you can always understand and relate with their issue, you can easily become a target to toxic people who will always use that to manipulate you. Because again, empathy involves emotion, being affective in somebody's issue. So if you're not careful and you don't set boundaries when it comes to being empathetic to people and their issues, you might easily be a target to, toxic people, or for lack of a better word, for example, the narcissists. They'll always find a way to emotionally blackmail you, to lure you. It can be your friend, it can be your parent. We've seen many cases where parents are, toxic. They're, manipulators in so many other things. So even as an empath, learn to set boundaries. Even as a mental health advocate, there are times people will call me and I'll tell them I'm not in the right time to listen to your issue. It is not that I'm facing any difficulty, but it is just period for me to let out things that are also within me. I also need an empath to listen to my issues. So to any person who is an empath, I know that people who are, through their personalities, they are empaths already. And there are people who struggle or they're trying to learn to be empaths in the kind of relationship they're having with people. To you who feel comfortable listening to people, understanding their pain and issues, learn to set boundaries. At times, you can really be drained and it can pin you down as a person. You end up listening to so many issues from left, right, and center, but at the end of the day, you end up pinning yourself, not knowing how to let out and to free yourself from these kind of issues. Yeah. I don't know if you have something else to say.
I don't know. Would you call yourself an empath?
Like, yeah, I am an empath. As I said earlier, I used to struggle to be an empath at working environments. Mm-hmm. I felt like for me, maybe based on my experience with other working environments, I used to feel like it is important for us to focus more on the job than other issues. If we had agreed this work was supposed to be done from 11 to 1 and then no communication or nothing, I would easily not, I don't know, I'm trying to get the word. I will easily not be comfortable having a good conversation with you. I'd really be angry, and the kind of conversation we'll have will be a very tough kind of a discussion. You know, I didn't realize how important it is to be empathetic. You know, somebody will come and tell you, Derrick, I'm sorry I didn't do 1, 2, 3 things because of A, B, C, D, you know, and I'll be like, that has happened, yes, but let us get to job. Do it to the time you're supposed to do it. We will discuss that later. Yeah. But again, it should be the vice versa. If there's an issue, let us arrest the issue or address the issue immediately, then other things come secondary.
Yeah.
I think human mind's peace is more important than even the kind of work we're doing. Yeah. And we cannot prioritize work over peace of mind, you know. So, yeah, it's something we learn every day. And when it comes to being too empathetic with my friends, I think I've been, on different occasions, been too empathetic with my friends.
What do you mean by too empathetic?
Too empathetic is something we're discussing. Like, I've been too available.
So, like, empathy with no boundaries.
Empathy with no boundaries.
And let me tell you, empathy without boundaries is very self-distracting. And it's something that no one should ever do. It's a very huge burden.
So
being empathetic is a burden. I wouldn't say it's a burden, but it's a tall order.
Yeah.
So if you're an empath without boundaries, it's, I don't know what you're trying to do. It's suicidal.
It is suicidal. I think it got to a point where it was difficult for me to define me, because most of the time I used to spend my time being empathetic, like listening to issues of people, you know, feeling them, you know, understanding them. And, you know, it piles up. Everything you listen into it, you know, piles up. Though I know in psychology you're taught on how you handle issues separately. You don't just hold somebody's issues. Yeah, objectively. Sometimes you can, you know, pick an issue and then decide to be with it forever, and it is not your issue. So that is something. It's not your issue. It is not my issue, you know. Yeah. And of course, in any other time, even as we discuss empath, the one thing we need to remind empaths, I think we should not forget, you cannot save any person. You will never save any person. You can only empower somebody, or you can give somebody enough information to help themselves out, but you cannot save somebody. It has never happened and will never happen.
Yeah.
If right now you are sick, I can feel, not even feel, I can get your shoes, but not completely. I will not get the pain that you're having. You know, for example, you're ill, you're undergoing, you know, some, you know, painful kind of surgeries and the likes. No matter how empathetic I am to you, I may not save you. It can be God or the doctors, you know. So let us also understand, as an empath, you cannot, like, rescue. The only rescue you can have is being present, being honest with them, and feeling and relating to what it is being discussed at that point. But you cannot rescue anybody. Don't overstrain, don't stress yourself trying to do things that are beyond you. Yeah, I think I'm done. I think that is how we are wrapping up.
Yeah, and just before we wrap up, I think just talking about empathy, as you go around being empathetic to people, take care of yourself, have boundaries while at it. But also to the other people who need to practice more empathy, just remember that you can get more from a person, whether it's personally in a friendship or in a work situation. If this person feels seen, understood and appreciated. And one of the ways to do this is being empathetic. You can definitely get a lot more from your employer if they feel like you care about them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
So let's be more empathetic. It makes the world better, and it's something that we all need at some point. We all need somebody to understand us. We all need somebody to just not cut off the judgment and just listen to what my situation is. Or sometimes it's just something simple. We need somebody to just see and understand what our perspective is without making it look like it's a perspective that is less than, or making us look like we're not seeing the bigger picture, things like that. So with that said, I think we can end this podcast. Please remember to subscribe, listen to us, give us feedback.
And I really want to appreciate those who always get in touch with us to give us feedback. I can share some few shout outs.
Please do.
Yes. Tracy is a good listener. She always sends feedback on how the show has been. Tracy, shout out to you. Maureen Mora, very good listener. I remember last time she requested if we can expound more on people pleasing. We really care, and we really are going to ensure that we bring a guest here so that we can discuss more about people pleasing. Alex Oburu, a great guy who has always been following up this show.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Alex.
Alex, a good guy, really good guy. I can't really use the word nice guy. We don't like nice guys.
Alex is not nice.
He has never been nice. Okay, he's a good guy. There's another guy there's a friend of mine called Tapi, guy from Turkana, an amazing guy. He always listens to our podcast. I have Samuel Lokwe. These are some of the people who normally ensure they, share their inputs on the same. There's Josephine Odhiambo, an amazing lady doing a lot of stuff on sexual and reproductive health. She always ensures, she'll be the first person to call me and, to give me her feedback about the topic. And she will be like, I think you guys can discuss 1, 2, 3 or other things that will be of help to us. So I don't know if, Lilian, from your end, you have shout outs.
For me, I think I want to shout out a very good friend of mine who is by an extent family. Her name is Gladness. She always listens to all our episodes and gives me feedback and tells me what the impact it has had on her personally. I also want to thank Timothy Were is also a friend of mine who is always telling me, Lilian, when is the next episode? Please send me the link. Those two are the ones that I remember, but I appreciate each one of you who has shared the link.
Yes.
Kina Diana, Osale, Atsula. The people who have just been supportive. Who have just been supportive in very massive ways. I might not say your name here, but I appreciate each one of you who has shared the link, who has listened to the podcast, who has told us ABCD, whether our sound is okay. Those feedback, we appreciate it all. We might not mention all names, but we are thankful. Thank
you so much, guys. We promise to be consistent. I think we have had an issue doing our podcasts on a weekly basis, but it's something we're working on to ensure that we keep you posted, we keep you following through our conversation every other week. I want to appreciate all of you who always follow, comment, and, give us any kind of support. We can't be here without you guys. So thank you so much. We hope you're going to be of help. This podcast and our subsequent and shows are going to be of help to you and, your mental health state. This has been Mental Wealth Podcast with Lilian and Were. Have a good day.
This production is done by Acute Media.